Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and today I'm going to be doing a psychic slash mediumship reading on child star Heather O'Rourke, who a lot of you have asked me to do this reading. So I'm going to give you the insight from spirit, from my spirit guides, from her soul, from her spirit guides, and communicate exactly what I'm getting now, like what is a true story, because there's been a lot of controversy over how Heather passed away, whether she was murdered or was it, passing from a common ailment, or, not a common ailment, but necessarily like a medical, complication. What I'm hearing and what I'm seeing from spirit is that this little girl was super talented, but I also feel like she, not only did she play that character very well, I feel like Steven Spielberg was going to eventually, they said it was between Heather and Drew Barrymore, and that Heather was casted, as that role as Carrie Ann overall, but I actually feel like there was a third girl. I don't know who that is or if people know about it, but the spirit keeps saying there was another girl that was going to actually get the role, or was being considered for it. Heather is very interesting because what I am getting from her is that she was a real medium. Believe it or not, she was a real medium, and so coming into a role as a conduit for spirit, that's the whole premise of the Poltergeist. For those of you that have never seen the movie or have seen it, and remember it, she was a conduit, and spirits were, these were malevolent spirits that were kind of attracted to her energy and took her over, and try to, kill her. For a child to play this kind of role that is such a dark role, a very evil type of situation that a child would be in. I feel like this was not Heather's idea of, going into acting or filming. I don't even feel like she had a passion or for that, but this would have been more from the parents' angle and what money would have been offered to them by Steven Spielberg, or, the people at the time that were involved with the making of this movie and that handled the contracts, etc. So I get a lot of darkness to begin with regarding this whole, casting and all the cast itself. There's been questions whether or not this was, this whole movie and series of movies was cursed. And I don't necessarily feel that it was cursed. I'm not going to sit here and say that. I do believe curses exist. What I do feel is that there definitely were portals that were open, and her being a conduit to spirit as a medium, and not really, maybe she didn't really know at the time that she was a medium doing this, it actually did open up gateways. And I do feel like there were some hauntings that did take place, not only to her, but to other cast members. So there is a lot of truth in that part, that has been put out into the media. I do feel like they were haunted completely. And there may have been some demons that came out of that, because gateways were open is what I'm getting. I feel like a lot of darkness, a lot of anxiety when I'm, channeling all of this and kind of getting into the scenes of, the making of the movie, like what spirit is showing me, how Heather was, I feel like she transformed completely. Like this was not how she ideally was in real life, before the role. I feel like her spirit was very lighter, carefree, but she already had spiritual attachments, not necessarily like attached to her, but surrounding her. That's the better word for it. So I do see that around her going into this role. I do feel like there was a lot of greediness. There was a lot of complications during the filming. I feel like, she went through with the whole thing, but it kind of on a psychological level, I don't know if she had nightmares in real life, but I am hearing her say that she did have nightmares, or that she was, kind of afraid of certain things, like, sleeping at night. And she was never the same after this movie, is what Spirit is saying. So again, I feel like this whole movie had a lot of, just a lot of different problems from the get-go. I don't feel like there was a lot of organization. I feel like there was a lot of, just her spirit not feeling right after the movie. But again, it did bring her a lot of money, in her family, most of all, because at that age, a 12-year-old is not necessarily going to, be doing this for the money. It's going to be the parents, obviously, and I'm not pointing finger at the parents, but I'm stating the obvious. Heather had nothing to really benefit from that. Of course, she would have lived a better life, but I feel like she felt trapped in all of this. This was not her ideal situation to be in this movie. It was like a part of her didn't want to do it because it kind of unleashed in her life, I feel like, a lot of spirit activity. And so I do not agree with what a lot of, the rumors or conspiracies that have been put out there that she was killed by, a group of sickos that has been put out there. I don't see that with Heather, but I do feel like there were key people in the industry at the time that would have looked at her and were, again, sick, like those sickos that, that people are talking about. I do feel like they were definitely looking at her, and it's very revolting. It's very nauseating to even, spirit to show me that. But I do see that. And I do feel like, and what I'm hearing is that there was something about that teddy bear on set, and I felt like a lot of energy was inside that bear itself, and just the energy, like I see shadows in her home following her, like these were shadow men. There were definitely, like I said, spirit activity. Now, I don't know if the mother or father would have had any paranormal experiences throughout the making of the Poltergeist movies, that happened. But this is what I'm getting. And I'm also hearing that, there was a point where they were not happy with the money that was coming in. This would have been the parents, and like they would have wanted more. There was more. There was more that was being wanted. And this was a battle between spiritual warfare, basically, between souls and good and darkness in this whole movie. The cast, the casting and the whole behind the scenes of filming during production. I feel like there was definitely backstabbing done. There was a lot of actors that were not happy with Steven Spielberg. They were not happy with the movie and how, they were paid, and I feel like they were not paid adequately for some of these actors or actresses that would have would have been a part of this movie. I feel like, for Heather, that her passing was due to, I honestly feel like she did get sick, like she did have those issues, but a lot of this was not really health related, is what Spirit is saying. It was more spiritually related. Again, when you have demons and you have darker spirits and entities around you, it is going to affect your health. And if I'm right with what I feel, which I do feel like I'm right from what Spirit is saying, again, these are just my opinions, my insight, that she was a physical medium. Physical mediums are very much susceptible to getting sick and can have life-threatening situations. And that's what I feel all around this, with Heather. I do feel breathing issues when I tune into her. So yes, she would have had cardiac issues, respiratory breathing issues, that would have led her to the hospital. This is accurate. That is accurate. The thing that I feel like is not being said, and she's a 12-year-old, is that there would have been something that she would have, I don't know how this is going to come across, but there would have been something that she would have eaten. This was not someone poisoning her or anything like that, but something that she would have eaten that would have been like an unknown it was like an allergic reaction, something that was given that didn't. It could have been a medicine. It may not have been eating. I don't know if she was on any medication, but what comes through is like something in the system that kind of affects and targets the abdominal area, something that didn't agree with her body and her body chemistry internally that would have caused this, and so again, this could have been the medications that were administered at the hospital, apart from what she was already being sick from. But I just feel like, she wasn't really well taken care of, not by her mother, but really in the hospital environment. And also before that, I feel like she may have had some issues with eating. I don't know if she didn't eat properly, or she would, didn't have enough time to eat, or if she had eating issues. It's kind of rare for a 12-year-old to have that, but I wouldn't say it's rare, because there are people that start at a very young age, maybe 10 or 11, as they get into their teens, that would have eating disorders or have eating issues. This is what I'm hearing and I'm getting from spirit. Mentally, I do get also that other people would have been haunted, like I said, on set, after the movie, in their own personal lives. A lot of what Spirit is telling me, what Heather is revealing, is that a lot of souls, a lot of people were affected, and in various ways. Some of them never returned to the entertainment industry as an actor or actress. Some of them got sick, were not able to continue. Some of them suffered from mental illness or suffered from some type of depression. Their families and everyone in their life would have been affected in some capacity. This movie, even though it was in the mind of Steven Spielberg, I just feel like there was definitely some darker energy behind this. Now, I haven't done a reading on Steven Spielberg, which I will be doing, but he is a genius when it came to like horror movies and that energy. And I feel like in some ways that he himself may have been either haunted or possessed at one time to have gotten a lot of these darker ideas, because it really takes someone that would have had, people have imaginations and they are creative, but in some capacity, you have to have, like, how should I say this, lived it or have had some kind of, haunted type of situation in order for you to draw upon that. At least that's how most authors, not everyone, again, I'm not going to be a stereotype and put everyone into that category, but a lot of people do. And so I feel like definitely there was a lot of this, going on, where maybe his ideas, they were kind of unleashed, the vision, and it took just the right conduit, the right medium, a little girl, with very strong psychic or medium abilities to do this, and to do the movie. And then it would just like be like a domino effect where, once she was on set, then everything else kind of unraveled. So yeah, I feel like her death definitely did occur prematurely, before her time, but I also feel like there was definitely some foul play, not foul play, but like in the hospital environment, like she could have like been taken care of a little bit more. I do feel like there was some negligence, I guess is what I'm trying to say, on that part. I don't feel like anything could have been done to prevent her passing, because again, I feel like the darkness that surrounded her and followed her and haunted her, plus couple that with the negligence, on the medical team. And again, people may not agree with me, but that's what I get. This is just commentary, what I get from Spirit, and people don't have to believe it, but that's what I feel like that ultimately. And plus, like I said earlier, something that she would have been either given as medicine there at the hospital, or she was taking medicine beforehand to treat some kind of condition. That in itself kind of weakened her organs in some kind of way. Because what's being shown to me, and they said it was narrowing, but I kind of feel like there would have been a hole somewhere, like a perforation. I don't even know if that's the right term for it, that would have, kind of led to this kind of unraveling, her system just shutting down. But I don't feel like there were people like that, these, sickos that were responsible for her passing. I really feel like this was more of a haunted dark energy that kind of followed her. And not only that, but also it caused her health to deteriorate. Coupled that with medicine, that she would have been taking, or things that, were administered there in the hospital. All of this, like, these are the circumstances. Like, this was her soul's exit point. For the fans of the movie, she just wants it to be a reminder for, a lot of the people that are viewing, that if they have children that are basically talented and going into the industry, to be careful with these darker roles, with these haunted type of roles. And that's not just for children, but anyone, she's saying, because people that go into these roles, they are more susceptible to having real life situations follow them, afterwards. And during the movie itself, because even though it's fiction, it's considered fiction by many, spirituality and hauntings are very real, and this is not something that is make believe, and when scenes are recreated, or we, actors go into this and they do a certain role like this, it is opening doors, just the recreation of it, the whole premise behind it, So again, I will be doing a reading on Steven Spielberg later on, sometime in the month of October, because I feel like it would really be good, because I see a lot of things already about him, and I want to share that with a lot of you out there that are my rays of light, new rays of light, new subscribers that are tuning in. And I want to thank you so much for being here, and for supporting me and everything that I do. I really, really appreciate and love you all so much. And for Heather, I feel like she is okay. She is at peace. She's okay. She's grown. Like, she's not the age that you would see like as a child still. She is a grown woman, on the other side, and she's okay. I do feel like she definitely will reincarnate, if, very, very soon. And the reason she is saying this is because she did not carry out her life, and she she was, she would have wanted to. And again, this was her choice before being born, that she would have chosen this exit point in this kind of way. But I do feel like she has come around her mom. Her mom has felt her, and, not just that, but people, her, children who would have gone to school with Heather, or, other people that were on the cast of these movies, their souls. And whoever, is on the other side, there is like another actress on the other side, an actor who would have played roles in the movie that are no longer here in the physical world, that are over there on the other side with Heather as well. So again, if it wouldn't have been for her, doing this role, I think it would have not created an awareness, her purpose in this role, even though it was a very dark role. The movie was kind of dark itself. For a child, she was very brave to go into this. And I also feel like she helped consciousness in the time that this movie came out in, I don't know what year, maybe it was the 70s or 80s. But whenever the movie came out, basically she created an awareness to the world of ghosts and hauntings. And, that's something that we hadn't seen before. And Steven Spielberg is the mastermind behind that, even though he has been haunted, etc. It's very interesting that he is taking a very huge part in the role of the paranormal, kind of bridging those gaps together, and, and letting the world know a little bit more that this stuff is real, that, spirits do exist, and that not all spirits are good. There are malevolent spirits out there, demons, basically, lower level energies. So, once again, thank y'all so much. This was my reading on Heather Rourke. I hope I said her last name right. If I didn't, I apologize. I am very bad at pronouncing names. But blessings and love and light. Have an amazing day or night wherever you are in the world.